The pivotal Battle of Badr unfolded in the month of Ramadan. This was in the second year after the Hijrah, the Prophet Muhammad's migration from Mecca to Medina. This year corresponds to 624 AD in the Gregorian calendar. The battle became the first major military encounter between the nascent Muslim community of Medina and the powerful Quraish tribe of Mecca. Initially, the Muslims led by Prophet Muhammad had intended to intercept a wealthy Quraish trade caravan. This caravan, laden with goods, was returning from Syria under the leadership of Abu Sufyan. The interception was seen as a way to reclaim some of the property confiscated from Muslims who had fled Mecca. A stark disparity existed between the two forces gathering for this fateful encounter. The Muslim army was a small band, numbering only around 313 men. They were not a professional army and were poorly equipped for a large-scale battle. Many had only simple weapons, and they possessed few horses and camels for transport and combat. In stark contrast, the Quraysh of Mecca mobilized a formidable force of approximately 1,000 soldiers. Their warriors were well armed, with ample swords, shields, and armor. They also had a significant cavalry contingent, giving them a clear material advantage over the much smaller and less equipped Muslim contingent. The Quraysh leadership in Mecca was alerted to the Muslim plan to intercept Abu Sufyan's caravan. This news stirred great alarm and anger among them. Protecting their trade routes and caravans was paramount to Mecca's economic prosperity and its regional influence. The perceived threat to this caravan, combined with a desire to crush the growing Muslim influence in Medina, spurred them into action. The Meccans, driven by a mix of economic interest and tribal pride, decided to dispatch a large army. Their aim was not just to protect the caravan, but to deliver a decisive blow to the Muslims and end their challenge once and for all. Upon learning that the Quraysh army was marching out from Mecca, Prophet Muhammad faced a critical decision. Abu Sufyan, displaying cunning, had successfully rerouted his caravan, evading the Muslims. The initial objective of intercepting the caravan was no longer viable. Instead, the Prophet consulted with his companions. Despite being vastly outnumbered and outmatched in terms of equipment, the consensus was to confront the approaching Quraysh army. This decision transformed a planned raid into what would become a defining battle, setting the stage for an epic confrontation at the wells of Badr. The Muslims' resolve was firm, trusting in their cause and leadership. The Battle of Badr commenced not with a full-scale assault, but with a traditional Arab display of martial prowess, individual duels. 3 prominent warriors stepped forward from the Quraysh ranks. These were Utbah ibn Rabi'a, his brother Shaybah ibn Rabi'a, and Utbah's son Walid ibn Utbah. They challenged the Muslims to send forth champions to meet them in single combat. Accepting the challenge, 3 renowned figures from the Muslim side emerged. These were Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib, the Prophet's uncle, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Prophet's cousin and son-in-law, and Ubaidah ibn al-Harith. This ancient custom set a dramatic tone for the larger conflict. The outcome of these initial duels was a significant psychological victory for the Muslims. Hamza swiftly defeated Shaybah, and Ali overcame Walid. The duel involving Ubaidah ibn al-Harith and Utbah ibn Rabi'a was more protracted, and Ubaidah was wounded. However, Hamza and Ali came to his aid, and together they dispatched Utbah. Though Ubaidah later succumbed to his injuries, the Muslims had decisively won all 3 opening combats. This display of skill and bravery greatly boosted the morale of the small Muslim army. Conversely, it served as an early blow to the confidence of the larger, more well-equipped Quraysh force, who had expected an easy victory. Prophet Muhammad demonstrated exceptional leadership and a willingness to consult his companions, a key aspect of his strategic approach. Before the battle lines were fully drawn, a companion named Habab ibn al-Mundir offered crucial tactical advice. He questioned whether the Prophet's chosen campsite was based on divine revelation or on military strategy. When the Prophet confirmed it was the latter, Habab suggested a modification. He proposed that the Muslim army should advance and camp at the nearest well to the Quraysh. This would secure their own water supply while denying it to the enemy, a vital consideration in the arid desert environment. This strategic decision, based on Habab's insightful counsel, proved to be highly effective. By controlling the primary water sources at Badr, the Muslims gained a significant tactical advantage. The Quraysh army would be forced to fight for access to water, potentially weakening their resolve and stamina under the harsh desert sun. Furthermore, the positioning allowed the Muslims to choose their ground. They arranged their lines in such a way that they could confront the numerically superior Quraysh forces in a more controlled manner. This negated some of the Quraysh advantage in numbers and allowed the Muslims to utilize the terrain effectively, funneling the enemy's advance rather than being overwhelmed. Following the dramatic individual combats, the main battle erupted with great intensity. The Quraysh, confident in their superior numbers and equipment, launched their attack against the Muslim lines. Despite being outnumbered almost 3-1, the Muslim warriors fought with extraordinary courage and discipline. They held their defensive positions, inspired by their faith in the leadership of Prophet Muhammad, S.O., who spent time in earnest supplication. The fighting was fierce and brutal, with both sides incurring casualties. The smaller Muslim force demonstrated remarkable resilience, repelling the initial Quraysh assaults and standing firm against repeated charges from the Makkan warriors and their cavalry. A core belief within the Muslim narrative of Badr is the concept of divine intervention. Islamic sources, including the Quran, recount that God sent down angelic assistance to reinforce the Muslim fighters. Thousands of angels, reportedly led by the archangel Gabriel, are said to have descended upon the battlefield. These celestial beings fought alongside the Muslims, appearing as warriors and striking fear into the hearts of the Quraysh. This divine aid is considered a primary reason for the Muslims' unexpected and decisive victory. It transformed the battle from a purely human contest into one where heavenly support played a crucial role in the outcome. The conviction of divine support had a profound impact on the morale and fighting spirit of the Muslim soldiers. Knowing or believing that they were not alone and that God's angels were fighting with them, imbued them with immense courage and determination. This belief helped to overcome any fear or doubt that might have arisen from their numerical and material disadvantages. In contrast, the Quraysh, who relied on their worldly strength and tribal alliances, were reportedly unnerved by unusual phenomena and the unexpected ferocity of the Muslim defense. The psychological impact of perceived divine favor on one side and perhaps a growing sense of unease on the other significantly influenced the battle's dynamics. The Battle of Badr resulted in significant losses for the Quraysh, particularly among their leadership. One of the most prominent figures killed was Abu Jahl, Amr ibn Hisham, a staunch opponent of Islam and a key instigator of the conflict. His death was a devastating blow to Quraysh morale and prestige. Other important Makkan leaders, such as Umayyah ibn Khalaf, also fell in the battle. Several more were captured, including Suhail ibn Amr, a notable orator and influential Quraysh noble. The loss of so many respected commanders and warriors crippled the Quraysh leadership structure and sent shockwaves through Makkan society, marking a turning point in their fortunes. The Muslim victory at Badr was decisive, and its immediate aftermath was carefully managed. The Prophet Muhammad instructed his followers to treat the prisoners of war with kindness, a remarkable directive for that era. Many prisoners were later ransomed, with some literate captives earning their freedom by teaching Muslim children to read and write. The spoils of war were distributed among the Muslim soldiers, after a fifth was set aside for the Prophet and communal needs, as ordained by later Quranic revelation. The bodies of the Quraysh dead were buried, and the Muslims returned to Medina, not just as victors, but as a force that had defied all odds. The Battle of Badr dramatically altered the political landscape of the Arabian Peninsula. Before Badr, the Quraysh of Makkah were the undisputed dominant power, their prestige and authority widely acknowledged. This single battle shattered that image. The defeat of their large, well-equipped army by a small, poorly armed band of Muslims sent a clear message that a new power was rising in Medina. The victory significantly enhanced the Prophet Muhammad's standing, attracting more followers and consolidating the Muslim community. Medina began to be recognized as a significant political and military entity, capable of challenging Makkan hegemony. The battle offers profound lessons that continue to resonate. It underscored the importance of unwavering faith and trust in God, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds. Badr also highlighted the value of strategic planning, consultation in leadership, as seen with Habab's advice, and discipline within the ranks. The Muslims took calculated risks, understanding the stakes involved. The Quran itself dedicates significant portions of Surah Al-Anfal, the spoils of war, to discussing the Battle of Badr, its events, and the spiritual and tactical lessons to be drawn from it, emphasizing ultimate reliance on Allah's will alongside human effort. Historically, the Battle of Badr is considered a pivotal turning point in Islamic history. It was the first major triumph for the Muslims and laid the foundation for their future successes. This victory not only secured the immediate survival of the nascent Islamic State in Medina, but also emboldened the Muslims and demoralized their opponents. It set in motion a chain of events that would eventually lead to the peaceful conquest of Makkah 6 years later, and the subsequent spread of Islam across Arabia and beyond. Badr remains a symbol of faith overcoming adversity, and its anniversary is commemorated by Muslims worldwide as a reminder of divine support and the power of conviction.